There is no Jesus you think. Subtitle: Get out of the illusion and see the reality. Rather than seeing the reality of the object in our lives, we sometimes mistake the image that the object has universally as the reality of the object. A typical example is the image of Jesus. When imagining Jesus, most even non-believers will think of the saint we usually imagine, and think that he is kind and warm to everyone. What kind of person do you, reading this article, think of Jesus? According to the biblical record, Jesus accused the Pharisees of being children of vipers. He also said every word in parables. He said the reason was because he was worried that even one of the viper's children would realize and go to heaven. He also blamed him of overturning the tables of those who trade in the temple and making the house of prayer of all men a den of robbers. Let's take a look at each one. The term children of vipers is probably a harsh insult in today's language. In the face of the Pharisees who were older than him and who were respected as religious leaders and teachers by people, Jesus had did the worst swear word during that time. So, seeing Jesus behaving like this, an elderly Pharisee scolded him, saying, "Are you acting like this and calling yourself the Son of God?" Judging by the principles of the world, the words of this Pharisee are by no means wrong. Wouldn't it be appropriate to be polite, no matter how right you are? Couldn't Jesus have preached the gospel to the older Pharisees in a more humble and respectful manner? One soul is more precious than the world. Couldn't he have compassion on the souls of the Pharisees? Wouldn't God be pleased if even one of them repented and went to heaven? He was only doing business in the temple to make a living, so should he have made such a fuss? Was it really necessary to become enemies with people and be crucified? Wouldn't many people have repented if they had done it well by doing things that are good for everyone and showing miracles sometimes? What kind of person do you think Jesus is? Is it the Jesus of the Bible? Or is he the kind of guy I just said that all good things are good? It is very important that we have an image of the other person and the object, but we have an unconditionally good image of Jesus, and because we are brainwashed in that way, we cannot learn who he really is. Jesus Christ is not what we think of as a saint or someone who is unconditionally kind and warm, but he is only a clear yes and no before the will of God. In front of God's will, Christ is only yes, and even if there is a cross in front of the obedience of that yes, it is Jesus who forsakes his will and chooses God's will. If you want to be like Jesus Christ and become his disciple who follows the way of the cross, you must learn and emulate the reality, not the illusion. A false image is a lie created to gain people's consent and live comfortably in a world where people live, and it does not glorify God, but rather makes the image of God into idols, golden beasts, and garbage. The Pharisees deceived the naive as if an illusion were the reality, so that they themselves could not go on the way of truth and others could not go. And even though they know it is futile, they are happy to sit in the seats of Moses and the prophet themselves, and they deceive themselves and others to keep the sweetness of the seat. If you want to learn and follow the reality of Christ, there is the presence of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit does not come into me by crying and blowing. If my heart is sincere toward God and God approves of it, Holy Spirit will find you and come to you with fullness, wherever you are hiding in the world.